Gee, have we started? I'm looking at my. Yes, you are now alive. It tells me. Thanks for reminding me. Well, good morning and welcome to the order of Monday morning. Now, I know we joke around and I love doing that, making up uh, little secret organizations. Believe me, all the secret organizations are made up secret organizations. So if you belong to Zippy or if you belong to any serious fraternal organization, embrace it for all it's worth. uh, and I guess that's the key. What is it worth, and what is it worth to you? Uh, Today is National Star Trek Day, and I I know many of us, especially of my generation, were stimulated, were inspired by the whole Star Trek, the original Star Trek series. And it's gone on to movies and several incarnations on television, all of which, or most of the time, are very quality shows. Uh, and for me, held great spiritual significance too. A few years back in Minnesota, I was speaking at a convention of sort of like a UFO convention, but other esoteric and new thought, science fiction-y kind of things, and I was privileged to speak there. Uh, but one of the presenters, and his name is escaping me right now. Oh, gee, I should have looked it up. Uh, was a little person who was probably Star Trek's greatest, formerly greatest fan and collector and such. Oh, please, somebody think of his name. Uh, he was just a wonderful, saintly character. But there was one Star Trek episode in particular that touched him, changed his life, changed his whole direction, changed his whole self image. And it was in an episode called, excuse me, Plato's Children. And he played a little person in that episode. But there were psychic overlords with sort of Greek. Everyone's in Greek drag and very philosophical and such. But there were slaves, okay, and there were slaves in Greece too, and they controlled them with psychic powers and made them feel, less than a first-class citizen. But they abused their psychic powers to control people. But anyway, in the Star Trek episode, it was there was a character, a little person character played by Michael Dunn. Now, you've seen Michael Dunn in many, many television and motion pictures. He was Emmy nominated, Academy Award nominated, fabulous, saintly actor. And he meets up with Captain Kirk, and they're with the Federation. Captain Kirk's with the Federation. Now, this is one of the things that made Star Trek to me so awesomely positive as an influence in my life, is I could at least dream of a universal organization of liberated, just, liberated individuals of different, not only of different races and different nationalities here on Earth, but of other beings, all other planets, other solar systems, other worlds, all together in a federation. And of course, for dramatic effect, there had to be, the Klingons and things weren't operating perfectly yet, but there was this ideal, this universal ideal, this universal brotherhood. And Captain Kirk says to Alexander, where I come from, size, shape, or color does not matter. And no one has that power that overlords of that planet were abusing. Okay, no one in Kirk's world has that power, and it inspired Alexander in the movie, and it inspired our friend that who then went on to become almost the official Star Trek custodian of Star Trek memorabilia, and I don't want to call it trivia because nothing in Star Trek is trivia. But anyway, this idea of universal brotherhood. Now, in the shortly before I was born, in 1947, largely with the influence and the support of Eleanor Roosevelt, the United Nations adopted universal rights of man. And it's a very short thing. Everybody should have a little pamphlet of it and see what that is. That's as close as that we got to the Constitution of the Federation. Okay. It really lays out your rights as a human being who's sucking air in and out. As a human entity, these are your rights. You are born with these rights. And in the Enlightenment period, when Freemasonry and a lot of the Hermetic, in Europe anyway, Hermetic Rosicrucian movements were afoot, this idea of universal brotherhood was inculcated in the entire group of movements that were going on. Freemasonry included. Now, I'm a Freemason, largely at first because my dad was a Freemason and I thought he was a cool guy, and all of his Freemason friends seemed like cool guys, and it was just nice. It was an adult thing to do in the DuQuette house. But I joined when I was 50 years old, and by then I'd already had over 25 years in the OTO, and in the AA, and I had been steeped in the Golden Dawn uh, ordered Masonic-esque way of studying the mysteries. And I had read the Albert Pike, and I'd read all the Masonic Blue Lodge rituals. I knew what it was about, and everything else. And I saw the wonderfulness in the Masonic experience if you're more or less armed with the ability to recognize just how cool that experience would be. And so I was 50 years old when I joined, exactly 50 years before my father joined. Now, the reason I'm telling you all of this, and the title of my today's talk is, Universal Brotherhood. And I know it sounds male chauvinistic to call it brotherhood, but for convenience sake, knowing that I'm talking about the universality of peoplehood, I'm going to continue to call it that. Here's what Wikipedia, just 10 minutes before I went on, Universal Brotherhood is a philosophical, spiritual, and socio-political concept that emphasizes the unity of all human beings beyond distinctions of race, nationality, religion, or class. This idea has been explored in various religious traditions, philosophical systems, and political movements throughout history. And it goes on to tell what the Hindu equivalent of that is and what the Christian and equivalent is of that, and Islamic. And down here, this is just white bread Wikipedia. In Western esotericism, Theosophy considers universal brotherhood a core principle of the Theosophical Society. It's a core principle of the Masons. It's a core principle of the OTO. I'll get to that in a minute. Freemasonry also embraces the notion of brotherhood, teaching that all men are equal under the fatherhood of God. Modern perspectives. In contemporary discussions, universal brotherhood is linked to human rights, globalization, and international cooperation. The Universal Declaration of Human Rights, 1948. I was born that same year. Same year my dad joined the Masons. The Universal Declaration of Human Rights reflects elements of this idea by affirming the equality and dignity of all individuals, regardless of their background. Now, it would seem like a self-evident truth that that's how a human being should view things. That's how a normal human being should respect other human beings. Simple term, almost corny, universal brotherhood. There was a Popeye cartoon where olive oil led a movement. Oh, she was in Madison Square Garden singing, "What we need is brotherly love." Okay. The three great principles, the pillars upon which Masonry stands, is relief, truth, and brotherly love. Brotherly love, relief, and truth. It's really easy to forget and to relegate it to Yes, that's all very good. Oh, brotherly love. Yes, okay. And then go out and be a complete genocidal asshole. Okay. But it's not just, you don't pay lip service to it. Um, let's see. I have all three of those in Freemasonry. Oh, first of all, in the OTO, the hang on just a second. I think I've got it. Let's see here. The word, here we go. This is the mission statement of Ordo Templi Orientis, okay, of the wild and crazy people that quote Aleister Crowley, the bloodthirsty, oh, damn them, I'm against the people and all of that. Well, that's written in a holy book, and you just go ahead and interpret that any way you want. Our mission, this is the U.S. Grand Lodge, our mission is to effect and promote the doctrines and practices of the philosophical and religious system known as Thelema, with particular emphasis on cultivating the ideals of individual liberty, self-discipline, self-knowledge, and universal brotherhood. If you are behaving according to your interpretation, behaving as a good OTO member or a good Freemasonry member in branches of Freemasonry, that should be right at the top of your prime directive. I've written quite a bit on Masonry and esoteric Masonry, and I have been privileged over the years to attend gatherings of esoteric Masons where we discuss the things that we love the most. Alchemy and magic and things like that. And it's a meditative 3-day weekend kind of thing where we meet in gorgeous surroundings and actually get to spiritually practice and do meditations and such. But even in Freemasonry, even within the realm of Freemasonry, it's a big enough tent where there are those in the craft itself that see that as dangerous, who see that the esoteric interest in Freemasonry as something to be discouraged and perhaps even rooted out. Luckily, there's been no, when I took my degrees, I took all my obligations with my hand on the book of the law. Supposed to be able to do that. That's my volume of the sacred law. Oh, and there was a big to-do in California Masonry after a year or so after myself and quite a few other Thelemite Masons did that. The powers that be, changed administrations and so, oh no, that's they're flying saucer people. And no, it was crazy. But anyway, Still, my Masonic experience has been pretty damn wonderful. Uh, but for those of us who are interested in the self-transformational uh, application of the principles and the experience of Masonic initiation, it has come to, or is at least it's on the threshold of once again being a secret society. And it's a bad time for this, but I would like to point out, or I'm sad to point out, that even the most white bread and innocuous and exoteric Mason is not immune to persecution. I joined in 1948. I mean, I was born in 1948. My father joined in 1948. Less 10 years before that. 10 years before I was born. Hitler outlawed Freemasonry, Theosophy. He outlawed the OTO. The head of the OTO, he was the Grand Treasurer General at the time, because Crowley was still alive, was imprisoned in concentration camps. You didn't practice the OTO. No initiations. It stopped. It had to go underground. Going underground by the early 50s, and after Crowley's death, it nearly went extinct, with only a few members, old members, left alive to carry the spark. Masonry, esoteric thought, esoteric organizations, need to be aware that we live in very fragile and sometimes disturbing times. And we should all, when we're worried about our own safety, our own comfort during times like this, it's easy for us to forget that our prime directive is still that of universal brotherhood. And universal doesn't mean just the brotherhood within your particular organization. It's universal brotherhood. We're all part of a great big general life. And we should stay aware of that at all times. And when someone might be tempted to go off and think otherwise, might be tempted to think that one human being is less than another human being, or that one person's life and contributions are less than any others, or that one person's existence isn't as important as another person's existence. Try to remember what I said yesterday. Existence needs you, needs all of us, needs each and every one of us. Existence needs us in order for existence to exist. And you might say, well, what if I'm dead? No, believe me, if you've exhausted your full potentiality of existence by dying, bon voyage, okay. But it's bigger than that. It's more universal than that. It's more infinite than that. It's more eternal than that. Existence needs you in order to exist. And you can most easily embrace that idea under the simple term, the Brotherhood of Man. And let's try to be that world that Captain Kirk was telling Alexander in Plato's Children. Anyway, that's it for today. Continue to be good to yourself, be good to each other. The order of Monday morning is now dismissed.